Hello, and welcome to our final panel discussion of the Life Skills Summit. Thank you to everyone who's been joining so far and who has tuned in today. We are very excited of this amazing panel to get into it. But before we start, I just want to tell you a little bit about LMF, which is an online network that is on a mission to level up confidence and careers of women and professionals globally. Our mission is to build the confidence and careers of 25,000 people by 2025, which is why LMF is hosting this summit to launch and introduce their new e-platform, which is filled with masterclasses, mentoring, valuable resources, and community forums to level up your career. And you can get a free 1 month trial by signing up on the LMF Network website. So let's jump into today's discussion, which is industry tips for how to grow your business online. So I'm just going to kick it off with the first question. And when you answer it, you can just introduce yourself and what you do before answering it. So I think this is a very relevant question, seeing as that we are all women and we're on like-minded females. So what is the place for women on social media in growing your business online? So anyone want to volunteer to go first?
Sure, I can go first.
Janet.
My name is Janet Machuka, and I'm the co-founder of 84 Digital Academy. And I also work closely with an agency called Sparks Corporates. We provide business solutions for small businesses and also the businesses already in the digital marketing space. So on to now, what is the place for women in the digital spaces? I really loved that question first because when I was starting off the digital space, I was trying to look for women who I can look up to, and I found like there were only a few of them. But if I look at the journey on how it has been for the past 5 years, I love how we have actually embraced it. We now are many. We can say, I'm not alone. I have Casey, I have Nyandia, I have Sanjeev. So it's nice actually to realize that women have realized that this space is for us too. So one thing I feel like this space has brought us is the fact that we are actually, as women, excel in soft skills like communication, talk about empathy, talk about community building, because I believe we are the anchors to our communities. We know how to engage with our family members from the smallest unit in the society to now the point of we have a larger audience. How can we engage with that? And that is where you find that we are so many women in the marketing department in the social media spaces trying to engage people, connect with them, and keep them within the communities. Another thing I feel like we have actually be able to do in the digital space as women is become the role models. Nowadays, when you see a few women on the digital space, all eyes are on them. Everyone is wants actually to find out what are they doing, how are they dealing with this or that. And so I feel like for us, we have to be the role models. And I actually love what you're doing and bringing all these women to the spaces because ideally, we are not just here to showcase our personal brands, but also encourage those young girls who are trying to get into the digital space to also into it. So we are the role models, we have become thought leaders, and that's why we are sharing all this information through this conversation. Another thing I can add is we actually represent the huge economic power, especially when you talk about buying, when you talk about the ones who love window shopping, the ones who love shopping are the women because the beauty industry is the most diverse. And that is why I feel like as much as we say that not only women who buy or purchase stuff, we love making sure that everybody is okay, and we are the people who actually make even our men think of, oh, I need a new pair of shoes, I want it to look good, and then they will think about that. So we have really like impacted the way the consumer habits happen on the digital spaces. We are the ones who are actually making the trends work because we have the high purchasing power.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, yeah, there's so much influence in what we're all doing today in just different aspects. And I think the fact that we have that empathy and openness as well to share our knowledge, I think that's the huge kind of leverage that we have. Tessie, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, I think I will just sort of piggyback on what Janet has mentioned. And I would like to highlight one of the things that I've noticed over time is that a lot of women or a lot of ladies um, tend to look for opportunities where they can grow personally. So you'll find a lot more women than men in personal development spaces doing, courses that, get them more upskilled in certain areas. And so that's in itself is a way that you can tell that women have already taken the center stage in terms of setting the pace in growing in this industry. And if you think about, let me just take it back to how we influence each other as women. I meet Janet and I'm like, oh my goodness, I love your glasses. Where did you get them from? Before you know it, it happens on the online space. And that now continues to grow because then we are referring businesses. We are, talking about topics or issues that we are both passionate about. And that now ends up growing impact when you talk about moving topics or conversations around certain things. So I'd say we have that power in terms of just starting conversations that matter and also upskilling ourselves in a way that creates a space where people want to listen to us and want to give us able to participate and impact businesses or companies or whatever it is that we are undertaking. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just do a quick mic check because we had issues before with Ivex. Ivex, can we hear you? Okay, no. I'm just going to
Are
remove you
you
and
are
take.
you still there, or did I lose you guys?
No, no, you're still there. Cool. So we'll jump into the next question, and Nandia, you can start with that. So, how important is speed and consistency in terms of achieving set milestones, specifically for online growth?
Okay. Hi, my name is Nyandia. I'm a co-founder to a digital agency. I'm also CIM certified and Google certified as well. So I major in marketing and digital strategy, and I love it. I feel like this is the time for us women. Like there's been thousands of years where it's been male oriented and male led. I feel like right now, unapologetically, it's for us. So, to answer your question, I believe that every business has its own pace. It's very important for startup founders, CEOs, COOs, all them people in the leadership positions to have their own pace set. If you look to following in the footsteps of competitors, it becomes a little bit hectic for you because everybody implements things differently. However, when you have set those expectations, you do have to meet them. And speed is it's always good. It works really well for you if you are able to achieve it on time. Of course, things happen, especially when you're at the first stages of startups between the first and third or fifth year. But it is very important to be very pushy when it comes to your goals, when it comes to anything that you've set your mind towards. So I feel like there is a need for speed and consistency if you do want to scale and get to the next level of whoever it is that inspires you, that you want to get to. So yeah.
Yeah, and obviously our world is rapidly changing. There's always something new coming about. And I think the element of having also risk assessment within your milestones, like, how now TikTok has taken over, Instagram has just tried to copy TikTok. Like, it's constantly, I think, just evident how competitive everything is and where you need to be. But I think it's also when you set those milestones, like what can you actually achieve and how are you going to go about it? What do you have in place that, you don't want to set a goal that you just know, like, okay, this can never be done, right? And once you
Yeah.
have those bigger milestones, you have like your mini milestones, and make it really bite size. So of course, like we've talked a lot about being online and kind of marketing ourselves digitally, but now obviously referrals and word of mouth is a huge marketing tool. How do you leverage that with an online presence? Janet, you can take this one.
Sure. And kindly allow me to take us back a little bit on the question of speed and consistency. I just wanted to mention something on consistency. If you don't show up, actually, people will forget you. So that's where we often want to show up every time, and looking for spaces like this one to at least to represent our personal brands. So keep on showing up, and don't just show up once, keep on showing up all the time. So off to how do we really leverage the word of mouth? I feel like social media has given us a chance to have those charmer conversations that we used to have with our fellow women when we are a bit idle and just want to catch up. But now we are doing it more on social media. We are having the conversations on Twitter Spaces, on our timelines, on WhatsApp, everywhere. So I feel businesses also should factor in how can they actually make people talk. How can they make people feel like, you know what, you're having a conversation just like the one you sitting under the shade of a tree, and then, having those ideas on, oh, where did you make your hair, where did you get your glasses, Umulo said. So it's all about the conversation on social media, and that is the best way to actually leverage it. We have communities, we have thought leaders who actually have amazing conversations under their posts. Jump on them, be part of them. And that is why sometimes I tell businesses, it's not just about you. It's about what other people are also doing, and also you engaging or being part of their community. Because you can't build a community if you're not part of other people's community.
Yeah, I love that. And I guess that like relevance plays a huge role as well. And like, are you actually what you preach, and are you being consistent with that? And how are you showing up in conversations? It should be the same online and offline. And I think that's what creates that value, and that's what makes people love you at the end of the day. Like, you are your business, yes, but who's that person behind the screen that is the same person offline? Tessie?
Thank you, Sanjeev. I think I want to start by just referring to some of the work I really love that Janet does. And when she said consistency, I think I have told her this time and again that I think she's one of the people who shows up for her brand consistently over the years. I have seen her consistently, engage her audiences, consistently come up with new and exciting content, and that makes her stand out. So I would say, ideally, it's always good to shout out other women in the space who are doing amazing things, and I think that's an opportunity for me to shout you out, Janet. Now, to talk about a bit more about referrals, I would want to sort of just add on to what Janet said and iterate that when you come onto an online space, remember there are a lot of people there. There's a lot happening there. So there's that pressure, let me call it pressure, or, you know, you need to figure out how to create a unique aspect of your business or a unique aspect of your personal brand. Because if a lot is happening there, then who will take notice of what you're doing or who you are? So think about what is niche about your business. Think about what is niche about your personal brand. What are you great at? Can you bring that to the forefront and sort of start coming out as a thought leader, coming out as someone who supports or advocates for certain things, and that will make you stand out or your business stand out. So ideally, think about that value that you bring to the table and make that value something completely unique that will differentiate you from other businesses and other individuals. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, because through the value is what you're also portraying and selling and how you want to show up. Nindia, do you want to add on before we move into the next question?
Yeah, I agree with what they've both said. Just to take us back a little bit, in my background in strategy, strategy is a wholesome. It's what we call like an audacious goal. And then within the strategy, you build on tactical plans. So short steps that will guide you to achieving what you need to achieve. Now, the first thing that we do whenever we're creating any brand and to propel it and to grow it is again having a unique service provision or a unique value proposition. Without it, it's really hard for us to even assist you, even the best of the best. It's really hard. I've always said this when it comes to my clients. It's the easiest brands to sell for me are the ones that are very confident in their product or service. So whenever you have a good product, a great service, it does a huge service to what your brand is going to be. So you'd rather work on perfecting what your brand is. I mean, you will perfect it along the way, but make sure you are solving a problem that is taking place now and in the future, and have that as your unique service proposition. That will eventually lead the way into your success and how you will interact in the business world, both as a woman and even as a man, because I know men have joined us as well.
Yeah, and I guess to add on to that, the next question is quite fitting. We've spoken about how we want to show up and where do we want to create value and how to show our value. So how do you identify the best online communities to be part of?
Yeah, I think first of all, there is a community for everybody. I was telling that yesterday I was in a Twitter space, a Kenyan Twitter space, and you would encounter people who have businesses, but they feel like English is not their thing. And I was telling, even in your local language, there is a community for you, regardless of whatever you're selling. That is why a good example in Kenya, some of the biggest platforms for advertising are local radio stations and TV stations. Like if I place an ad for a client of mine in like a Kikuyu local radio station, they have like a huge they will sell out. So there is community for everybody. It takes you putting yourself out there to be able to be marked even by your own community. You have to talk, you have to meet people. You cannot be a recluse and expect to find community. Go out there. And yes, that's what I love about Janet. She's literally everywhere. You will see her brand, like it or not. You're going to see her. I must be seen, I must be impactful. And I love that a lot. That's what I'm learning to now start doing, because when you do that, your people find you. It's like a tribe. Your people will find you, and those people are who will become your mentors, your sponsors, your clients, your customers. You will easily walk on the shoulders of your community and prosper.
Yes, I love that. And I guess, Janet, you can tell us how you do it.
Oh, well, when I was starting off, before I continue, it is so amazing. And sometimes I feel a bit shy when people keep on congratulating me and referring to me. But thank you so much, TC and Nyandia. When I was starting my digital journey, I remember I was so confused. What is digital marketing? How should I go about starting to learn, to share, to also be seen that I can offer some skills? So, what I did first is go to Google. I searched for a space where I can learn. I got an e-learning space. I started learning, but at the same time, I was consuming, but I wasn't sharing it to anybody. So I decided, why not start with a WhatsApp group of people who don't know what is influencer marketing, what is blogging, and let's just learn. And that is where actually the sense of community really spark on me, because I felt like people actually started to look at me as a leader, as much as actually I had no idea what I was doing. But also it gives me that pressure, what, you have to go and do your research, you have to go and learn and bring it back. Guys, you need to have a conversation after that. And then later on, now we went to social media. So for me, I can say the way I built the community is from, do you want to learn something? Do you want to be part of something that we can both of us grow, even in case you have the interest in digital marketing? And that's how we started the Africa to Chat conversations. And then for me, I just wanted to belong and be informed, because it's very hard for me to do research every single day about digital marketing. But when I have you close, there's some things you tell me that actually I had no idea about. Like every morning on our WhatsApp group for Africa to Chat, I get the news, what is happening on the digital space. Like today, trust me, if I hadn't read that Instagram is introducing the videos to Reels, actually, I wouldn't have known about that because I haven't found time to go and check about it. So community for me, I started to find it because it's through the interest that I had and then asking people around you. Use your social media spaces. Ask people who would want to be part of this and that. And that is the same way you can actually go about bringing people into a community like this one. This is a community conversation, actually. And the way you reached out to people is not like you were like, okay, let me go and research on Google. You actually asked either people in your community or you had identified me through another community where I was part of the conversation. So one way to do it, ask people, search for people. And communities is not just about a Twitter space conversation, an Africa to Chat space, or a live webinar. It starts from the smallest unit of your own personal brand. What are you actually feeding people? How are you building the relationship with them? How are you engaging with them? What kind of questions are you asking them to know what exactly they want from your brand? As for me, I usually say at the moment, I don't worry about who is our next speaker because I have the community. Ask them. There are people who actually can help you a lot in each and everything that you want to build. And remember this, make people feel like they are part and parcel, they are gaining from it. They are not just there to help you grow, they're there to help themselves grow too.
Yes, and this is how all of this got put together, like literally reaching out, asking to be part of something that we're all kind of doing anyway, and just really leveraging on each other's knowledge. And that's how we get a chance to really explore each other's audiences as well. And I guess this brings me to the next question: is as much as we can do that online, what are some of the things that we can practice offline as well, to help in this? And just a reminder for everyone watching, you can send through your questions that we can ask the panel at the end, the last 10 minutes. I'm seeing loads coming through, so keep them coming. Tessie, you can take this on.
So Sanjeev, I'm just going to mannerlessly ask Janet to allow me to join her community on this space. So Janet, today, just add me onto your Twitter chat community because, I want to be part of that. But anyway, one thing I want to sort of just talk about, just a bit about the online community space before I jump into, how to navigate the offline space, is a lot of entrepreneurs say this: business is lonely. Running a business is extremely lonely. There are times that you feel like you don't understand what you're doing. There are times that you feel like you're not clear about where you're going. You lack that clarity of vision, or you lack motivation. Or the times you just want to sit and binge and watch Netflix and not think about your customers or your team, or how things are going to be put together. And so that community aspect gives you the motivation to keep going. When you hear about Janet's story, you hear about Nyandia's story, you hear about Sanjeev and what they've managed to do today, you get encouraged. So I founded a community called Female Founders Kenya, and a while back, every Monday, everyone would share something about their previous week. So whether it's a small win or a big win, what was your week like? And I realized seeing those comments from individuals gave a lot of motivation to the rest of the team. So seeing someone say, I got one more influencer to push my brand. I'm working on a collaboration. I got one more sale. I have a new partnership. Meant that I also want to be someone next week who's talking about stride forward in my business. So community gives you that aspect of family. Let me call it that: family, people you can lean on, you can talk to, you can cry and share your challenges with, but also grow. Let me talk about offline. And this is something I love to tell everyone I meet, whether it's an individual or a brand. teach people how to refer you. So, seated in this space today, and I know Janet, and probably I've just seen her online, but she has not sort of intentionally taught me how to refer her. When I meet someone, and in my mind, I know Janet does something, in my mind, I'm like, she does something online. She works around digital marketing, but I'm not clear about how I should shoot in terms of referring her. So if Janet comes to me and says, Tessie, this is what I do, this is, the business I have started, this is the kind of impact I have, this is the kind of opportunities I'm looking for. Anytime I meet someone who would be valuable to her, I am very clear about how to refer her. And that means continued business for her. And anytime you interact with people and you have great engagements with them, make sure you go back to ask them for recommendations, ask them to give you feedback about your session. That's how you grow. You understand that I did this really well, or I need to up my game in this area, and you keep now iterating what you are good at, and at the end of the day become an expert in it. So for offline, I say everyone you meet, teach them how to refer you or refer your business. Yeah.
I love that. And I think that's one thing that we all forget. I guess the modesty bug kicks in in some of us for that. And yeah, that's such an important aspect, because that's how you want people to see you and think about you. And it's like, how do you create that impression? And yeah, that's a really great point. Thank you so much. So, one thing that every woman looking to grow their business online should do. So we can start with Nandia.
Okay. And also, just to add on the bit of offline sort of marketing, I do something very funny, let me tell you. Whenever I am going out to a networking event, that's also one way to grow your business online through offline means, is you do a lot of networking events. Don't shy away. I was also the same as Sanjeev. I'm also very quiet about the things I do. I thought I could grow my brand by letting my work speak for me without having to go on the forefront necessarily. But over the past 2 months, I've made it purposeful. People must know me. People must know my work. I don't care. I'll buy a billboard if I have to. You know what I mean? So I think I've learned to do events and to participate in events somehow. And then I always buy hoodies, and then I brand my QR code at the back. So whenever I'm at an event, everybody is curious. Let me tell you, QR codes, everybody will be like, who does she think she is? What is this about? So anybody goes and Nini scans that QR code, especially because I'm a girl, everybody will do that. Trust me. They are taken straight to my profile on my website. It's so fun. It is cheeky.
I love that.
Yes, branding is everything. We must scream about what we are doing, but it's about time. Now, in regards to what women are looking, one thing that they should do when they're looking to grow their business online, I don't think it is one thing, but there's one thing women need to learn. It is being assertive. We are very quiet. We are taught to look pretty and sit quietly over there and let someone else lead us and agree and nod and no. I refuse. We need to be assertive. Now, there is a difference between assertive and aggressive, right? So we need to talk. We need to talk. When we are called to these conversations, you're in a boardroom sitting with CEOs, talk. Let them even correct you, but we need to be assertive. We are smarter than we think you are. You see how much smarter you think you are? You're more than that. It is a very interesting trait I've come to realize. So do not be afraid to speak your mind. You will always shock yourself. Dream big. I've always said this. There is a level that I want to get to in my life, and then I'm like, I've done it. And then when I get there, I'm like, still not there. So, like today, I was telling my partner, my goal at 35 is to be the marketing head of MTN Africa. And I have taken steps toward that. And to be true, it's one of those things that nobody ever thinks. You know, the best you think you can do is like EABL, CEO, or Safaricom, but dare to dream big. And then after that, go for Google. Like, go up there and
you know, and then never stop learning. I am always in a class. That has helped me so much. It's where I meet my communities, it's where I meet my peers, I meet people better than me, and that is what has really helped me personally as a woman in business, is I always meet people who are better than me. It's the best way I learn from getting mentors, and I always find them now in the communities that Janet and Tessie were talking about. And we take on new roles again, takes us back to being assertive. Do not shy away when you're told to, so you just apply for this job and then you feel a bit I don't know if I'm qualified. I also know this CEO from some place. No, sis, it's your time. Get out there. You are good at what they are looking for. And then again, back to Janet. Find your way to get on the news, on podcasts, on billboards, any media. Let them know you. Make sure everybody knows you. And then look the part. Let me tell you, I saw the photos that we handed in for this session, and I was like, woo, I need headshots. I was like, Jesus Christ, what do you mean? I'm over here. I'm like, I was like this. I'm like, hey, is this okay? So I'm trying to take selfies. It's not working for shit. I'm like, I need to get headshots because that is one way I've discovered like most of the ladies are ready for this. Like Janet has insane headshots, Tessie the same. Me, I don't take photos, let me tell you. And I'm married to a photographer. The joke of it all. The joke, the absolute joke. And then we dare to fail. We're very afraid of failing as women. And that is why we don't take on huge roles, because we are like, Aki, if we fail, everybody will point at us, which is true. If a man fails, happens. A woman becomes a CEO and then she fails at something. Like if they do the first woman CEO for Safaricom and then something happens over there, the next CEO for Safaricom will be a woman, will be 100 years from now. We have to dare to fail, because that is the only way it will teach the ones who are younger than us to also dare to fail. And that is just a step, because you fail forward. You never fail Konyuma, you fail with a lesson. So we dare to fail. We go for those things that we think we are not meant to be. It's those things like, you have the experience. You might not have the papers, but you have the experience. And you're good at that job, but you don't want to apply. I tell people even apply for CEO jobs. Me, I don't care if you're 26. Apply. Be assertive. I'm telling you, at some point, someone is like, okay, look at this one now. You guys, look at this one. And someone somewhere will give you a chance to prove your point and to prove yourself. So, yes, I can scream all over about women in business because I'm a huge, huge, huge fan. But yes, those are my points for now.
That is amazing. And so many people are really resonating in the comments. And I'm sure all of us here today are really like, yes, I feel so empowered after that. Thank you. Janet, what is that one thing that women should do to grow their business?
One thing is not enough. But I really love what Nyandia said, and I might actually repeat some of the things that she has said, but I will share some of the things that have really helped me. That's why I said not one thing. Find a community. Number 2, collaborate. Don't shy away from reaching out to your competitor. We are actually in the same space. Sanjeev, you have an agency. Nyande, you have an agency. Tess, you're working in an agency. I have an agency. We are all competitors. But regardless of all that, we come together to give value to people. So factor in the collaboration on how you can give more value to people other than doing it alone. And one thing I like about social media is if you want to go alone, trust me, people won't actually care about you. But if you want to go with a team, everybody will be like, who is Janet? Who is Nyandia? Who is Tacy? Let me go and find out about her. Number 3, build your personal brand. If you're building any business and you want to show it on social media, regardless of even it's offline, make sure that people know you. There's a clip that I love most of it. I don't know if you have watched it. The woman says, we must be seen. Either we something of the sort. We must be seen. We have to make sure that you are seen. Present your personal brand. People actually will not know your agency, but they will know who is Nyandia. People will connect people. People don't easily connect brands unless this brand has already grown and is known because of what it's doing. Another thing is make friends with your already clients. This is what I usually do, and this is actually how I get to grow and get more referrals from other businesses. Because in the space, I still consider myself as a small business. And so when we are working with a client, I feel like it's time for you to have that, like, be open, have a conversation, build that relationship. Sometimes joke around with your clients. I actually have a lot of fun with my clients through social media. That is why I usually poke them on the post that they post, especially on Instagram stories. And so to some extent, it grows that relationship to grow away from, we are just too professional. We just want to do this business and get done with it after you get me the results, to a point that they will look at your personality and they love you. And actually, people refer people not just because you're good at what you're doing, but also because of your personality. Something else is care about the people you actually talk to every single day. And these are the followers. Followers are not just numbers, they are people. Can you respond to them, engage with them, sometimes have fun with them? And that is why sometimes I tell businesses, at least structure a way people know. If it's Monday, you have some ways you talk about from Monday to Thursday or to Friday. And then during the weekend, you're this fun person. You create memes, you share amazing stuff, the behind the scenes. So try all your best to make friends with your community, especially the fans, because most of the time, actually, it's not the businesses who find you, it's the fans who refer you to the businesses. Okay, so factor that in. And then lastly, this is what Nyandia said: don't be afraid to speak up. Tesi, thank you for shamelessly asking to be part of the community. That is the best way to do it. Show up for yourself. Ask people to give you a chance to speak in conversations, in communities, in live webinars, because at the end of the day, it's all about you. Present yourself so that your people can also know you. Thank you.
Yes, honestly, collaboration is so key. And from the get go, I knew that's how I wanted to move in my business, because we can't be experts in everything. And the whole point is, I think as women in business, competitiveness sometimes takes over. And sometimes it's like, oh, we make rivals, especially with someone in the same industry. But I think that's so old school now. Like, there's so many different ways to really leverage on someone doing the same thing as you, because everyone is different, everyone has their different expertise, and when you join forces, that is when epic shit happens, and that is when we can really make moves. So thank you so much, Janet, for that. We have some questions that I think is quite related to this that Tessie maybe you can say. So answer, what would be 3 power moves to ensure you're constantly showing up online?
Thank you for that question, Sanjeev. I think I'll reiterate some of the things that we've mentioned here that would, respond to that particular question. One, get clear about what you bring to the table. What is that thing that you do well and only you can do? Just figure out that unique aspect that you have, and that can differentiate you even when you come onto the online space. Be creative about how you present yourself and how you show up for yourself. I really love what Nyandia shared about her hoodie. Trust me, you're going to meet me one of these days with a QR code on my hoodie, because I am like that. I'm that person. I'm that person who picks up good things and runs with them. So make sure you show up creatively, stand out. We're in a world where there's a lot of stuff happening around us. We need to be able to come out in a way that people are interested in listening to what we are talking about. One of the things I also want to speak about is stand in your truth personally, socially, and commercially. So if you believe in something and you are passionate about it, make sure it comes out in your communication, it comes out in how you present yourself online, because people really relate with that authentic self that is brought onto the online space. So stand in your truth. If you believe that there are things that you'd want to speak about, and people are not speaking about them, and you feel shy because you'd be the only one who's, talking about it, go ahead and do it. If you believe in it, go ahead and do it. The third thing is, don't overthink it. That business plan, don't overthink it. Don't wait until you feel like now it's ready. Go for it, pitch the idea. There's never a point where you are ready 100%. So don't die with a great idea. When you have an idea, build it as you go by, pitch it, and grow along the way. So don't sit around with a great idea waiting for the perfect moment to come. And finally, one that I really love, guys, it's not okay to just die and nobody knew who you were. So write history. Do things that are out of this world, because we are all unique in different ways and we are built for more. So if we leverage the skills and the talents that we have, come out very strongly and confidently. And I love that these sessions are here to help us build that confidence. Come confidently and talk about the things that you're passionate about, and write history. Let it be known that Janet was here and this is what she did and this is the impact she made. You can't just sit around and be a someone, right? You have to be recognized. You have to leave a legacy. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. Literally, we only have this one life to create the impact that we want to create. So, what is stopping us? We shouldn't let just our thoughts, and literally everything that stops us is just in our head. Like, there's no actual truth behind some of the thought created realities that we live by. So, I'm going to give Ivex a last chance to probably close this session. Let us see if we can hear him now. Ivex. No. No, I can't hear you. Sorry. Okay. So if there's any last questions, please put them through because we're going to wrap up. And I guess each one of you can just give your thoughts on focusing on growth, because obviously for us to get better, be better, create impact, growth is always part of it. So what are some of the ways, I guess, for personal growth that you guys do, or if anything, like how do you know when you need to take that next step of growth as well? Anyone can take that through.
Okay. I had read one of the questions, which was in regard to when do you stop actively focusing on growth? And because then that will guide to the question you've asked. You only, for me personally, and what I've learned even running brands for clients, is that you only stop actively focusing on growth when you now need to focus on profitability, because the two are different. Sometimes, especially when you're a startup, you really focus, especially when it's based on passion and not based on a need to make money. When it's based on passion, it's based on impact, because those are the only brands that ever make it all the way to the end. It must be based on impact and it must be based on passion. It cannot at the beginning be based on making cash. Of course, cash is nice, but that should not be your primary goal, especially when you're starting a business. So you work on growth. And then there's a certain level of growth you get to, and now you pause a little bit, you focus on profitability. So for me, I alternate the two. As I get to a higher level, I pause, and then now I focus on profitability. I deal with the people I have at that point. How can I help them? How can they help me? And such and such. And then now, once I've achieved that and I'm cool with it, I go to the next level. I alternate the two. And then there's a level that you'll get when you're so big, God willing. And then you have departments, one that focuses on growth and one that focuses on profitability. And then the two run hand in hand. Then that way you achieve now the goal of now the money and the success and the impact and all those things. So then for me, what ensures that growth, both personally and professionally, is achieved is one, I delegate. I've learned that it's the hardest thing to do, especially as a startup founder. There's a point where you think it's only you who can do something. And yesterday, I was told that a big part of leadership is knowing when and how to delegate. So I just started hiring and getting people like 3-4 months ago. So one, I delegate, then I plan. Everything I do is planned. I even have planners all over the house, the office, everywhere. I make things intentional. Everything I do, there's a goal behind it, there's a thought behind it, everything. Again, I stand in my truth. I am not someone who um, has a persona, a different persona. Sometimes that works for people, but I prefer to stand in my truth. This is who I am. I'm very out there. I'm very casual sometimes when it comes to dealing with clients, and that is how only when we've reached at that point where we can be casual, and I'm present. I try to be as present as I can. I make commitments and I follow up. And then I take time out for me. I get to breathe. I get to swim. I get to scream and break a plate if I feel like it. So I just get some time for me, because then without me having my mental peace in check, then there's not much I can really do. Then just to reiterate on what Tessie had said in regards to making history, there's a saying that I've loved ever since I was like 6 years old when I learned about it. It said, well-behaved women seldom make history. And if you look at the definition of well-behaved women, especially in corporate, it's the quiet women, the women who listen, the women, well-behaved women seldom make history. That is something that every woman here should know and should have in the back of our minds as we're running our businesses. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And that actually brings us at the end of our panel. We have actually gone over our time a little bit, but that just means this conversation has been amazing. Thank you for your insights. I'm sure everyone has learned so much, and thank you for your time to be part of this. And thank you for everyone who's watching and sending your comments. And that's the wrap of the LMF Life Skills Summit it's amazing. Don't forget that you can sign up for your free trial on the LMF network for our platform. And thank you, everyone, and see you soon.